Hello, this is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington Law Firm located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you. So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
Yeah, my name is Jacinty Caldata Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my ex next to the cup, and what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data.
The Guyana Public Service Cooperative Credit Union will be hosting a special general meeting and elections on Saturday, March 2, 2024. The meeting and elections will be held both virtually and in person in the various regions. Members in Region 4 will be allowed to vote at the Critchlow Labor College, Wolford Avenue. The meeting will be held from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Members are asked to be on the lookout for information regarding online voting and regional polling places. Full participation of members is encouraged. Let us move your credit union forward.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Good evening to all my Guyanese brothers and sisters on the ground in Guyana. Good evening to everyone in the diaspora, the US, Canada, the UK, the Caribbean, and all those who are in South America, South Africa, Africa, the continent of Africa from a holistic perspective, because, you know, you have people from all over the place who tunes in and watch these shows. A pleasant good afternoon, good evening, good night, good morning, wherever you are in the world, to you all. And welcome to Over to You. As today we'll just continue to discuss the issues that are happening, you know, in our lovely country, Guyana. So welcome to the program. I encourage everyone to please go ahead, like the program, share the link. We're going to spend some time today. I think we're going to have a phone number coming up. This will be a call-in program. You feel free to call in. I know everyone is not on as yet, but I just want to say this. You know, I am privileged, you know, to be given the opportunity to host this show. But this is not Wayne Caesar's show. This show is your show. Our listeners and viewers, Over to You is your project. I am just here, you know, I'm just being allowed to host this show, but this is your show and we want to hear from you. So we're going to be putting up the number soon, 347-228-7115. So the teacher strike continues. So that's something that we're going to elaborate on a bit here this evening. I think I have a few voice messages that individuals would have called and left that they want to be played this evening. And also, we just had MASH, right? So I want people to call in and tell me what were their thoughts on the Mashamani celebration, because it was okay. I'm happy that the people came out. You know, the teachers also would have used that opportunity to let, you know, their feelings, you know, be heard. And I feel like if it was right in line, they didn't do anything wrong there. I understood that some teachers, even nurses, would have had little stalls out there selling and doing what they have to do. Listen, people have to live. I don't feel like if the government is providing enough opportunities for Guyanese to be able to live and live comfortably, so we know that these teachers, these nurses, and these public servants have to put food on their tables for their children and their family. So I don't see any problem with them going out there and selling and doing what they have to do to survive. But it is just sad to see that, everyone has to work two jobs or do two or three different things just to be able to live somewhat comfortably. I'm not going to say fully comfortably, because a lot of people have children. And when you have children, depending on how many children you have, there's a lot of mouths to feed. But it was good to see that people came out and they recognized the day. I didn't see much emphasis being put in to the Mashimani by the PPPC. And it doesn't surprise me, at all, because I think that the PPPC is out to try to, what would I say, wipe away the history of MASH and all these celebrations that we have in Guyana. They're out to wipe away these celebrations and put what they want to put in place. But when you bring an artist or two artists and you put them out at the National Stadium in Guyana and they perform, and our people have to go there and spend their monies to see these artists perform, that does not represent what Mashimani represent, for Guyanese. It does not. So emphasis need to be placed on MASH and these holidays, because these are significant. Independence Day, these holidays are significant, and they're significant to the history of Guyana and our people. So I want you guys to call in and, give me your inputs. Give me your thoughts. And then I just want to jump back to the teachers now. We've just finished week 3. So it's now been 15 days since our teachers would have been on strike. And in my opinion, they're doing the right thing. Big case, big case. They want a huge case. Yes. I was looking and I was like, where's the judiciary and all these matters? But it's nice. It was nice to hear from the legal fraternity, the judiciary, and the rulings was right in line with what it needed to be. You're going to go down as low to tell teachers that you're going to stop withholding $700 on their paycheck to pay their union? That is utter nonsense. You're going to cut their salaries just because they strike? No, you address their needs. That's what you do. When the strike happened in 2018, what did the coalition do? They addressed the needs of the teachers. That's what they did. Didn't last 15 days. There's no need for that. Our teachers and our nurses, although the nurses are not striking as yet, they are very, very important. All our public servants are very, very, very important to us. And they should be looked after and compensated, correctly. This government has to be careful because they're going down a slippery slope without, when it comes to addressing the needs of these teachers. They're not asking for much. They're not asking for much. Let's be honest here. Especially when you consider what this government, the deal that they would have made with the people from the business, the investors from Qatar that is coming and build the hotel in Guyana. How can you make such a deal? with foreign investors, and you can't look after your own teachers in your country, how can you? That's a slap in the face to our educators all across Guyana. It is disrespectful. And I trust Mr. Lincoln Lewis and Mr. Norris Witter. This is going to go very far, very, very far, if the PPPC does not come to the table and give the teachers exactly what they want. They're not asking for much. It is not much that they're asking for, especially based on what's coming into the country, the amount of revenue that is passing through Guyana at the moment, right? The world's fastest growing economy, fastest growing GDP, right? Our GDP is better than any country in the Caribbean, any of them. And our teachers are paid less than teachers across all those countries in the Caribbean. Shameful. Shameful. And you have a government posturing. They're not moving. They are just not moving. And this strike action must continue. And I want to really touch on something too. With this whole strike action, the PPPC has been trying to say that it's political. But you know what? We've just completed 3 weeks. This is Wayne Caesar's opinion here. 3 weeks has now been completed. The opposition has a right to get involved in this strike action now. 100% they can get involved. You're saying that the opposition has nothing to do with education? When the teachers strike, they're striking against the government. The PPPC and the opposition is a part of government. Hold for 1 second, I have a call. Welcome to Over to You. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
I do not think that these people think through things. These people just jump into things head first. First of all, you're going to give the nation's land to a private Fortune 500 company to build hotels. It's not even one hotel. It is a fleet of hotels for a country that does not have tourism to that capacity to support that type of volume to have that many hotels. That's number one. Number two, you're giving these people a 10-year concession of not paying taxes where they can overpopulate the country with bringing in goods where they're not going to pay any taxes. But yet you're going to pressure the local man that lives there to pay taxes for things what they're bringing in, and the local people cannot benefit from that. Does that make any sense? How greedy, how inconsiderate, how asinine can these people continue to be? And people, the Guyanese people, allow them to be this way. But yet, the Guyanese people, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying we should not celebrate. We have to celebrate when there is something to celebrate. They went out there yesterday to celebrate what? Slavery?
Well,
Yesterday I saw a film where people actually had on steel, like they were in bondage, chained.
Well, caller, you speak of the Guyanese people, and one thing I really want to say is that the Guyanese people, they need to stop giving power. They need to stop giving people power over them who does not deserve that right to have power over them. They need to stop doing it.
The Guyanese people need to speak up. The Guyanese people need to stand up for their rights. The Guyanese people need to understand what their rights is. And what their rights is just not putting on a flimsy costume with an inflated piece of fabric. Because if it was a hint, and I'm not being racial, because I can't be racial, we're living in a country with 6 races. And out of those 6 races, I got 5 of those races running through my blood. But if it was an Indo holiday, it would have been prime quality material, the best advertisement. You would have seen it all. That was disgusting what I saw from MASH. And I've seen MASH in Guyana, but that yesterday was disgusting and disgraceful to our Afro-Guyanese people. And I cannot believe that our Afro-Guyanese people sat there and celebrate and thought that that was something to celebrate.
Caller, I have to agree with you on that. As a people, and this is for all 6 ethnic groups across Guyana, we want to see change, right? Right? We want to see change in our country. But the thing about it is that many are not willing to take ownership of that change. We have to own the change that we want to see. We have to own it. You cannot sit down and expect someone else to bring about change in your country. Right? You gotta eliminate the degree of fear that you allow to sit in your brain space. The people need to be fearless. I think they just allow that fear of government to occupy their brain space. Hence, they are unable to own that change that they want. They're unable to own that change that they're looking for. But the massive issue with that is that if they continue to have that fear occupy their brain space, it's not going to just damage them, but it's going to damage the future generations tremendously.
Well, if they don't start coming out and it's going to start, it's starting already. They're coming out and helping the teachers. The same way you could come out and you could celebrate MASH. Well, I don't know what you was mashing yesterday. The same way you guys came out in your droves for MASH, they need to come out and help the educators. Because if it wasn't for the educators, once again, you're not going to like what I'm going to say. We couldn't have MASH. All stems back to our educators. We need the support for our educators.
I totally agree with you on that. The educators need to be supported. I feel it is time. We're going into the 4th week. I feel now it's high time that all the unions.
The heat up.
Yes.
We have to turn the heat up.
I agree with that.
It's about almost time for those kids to set camp, common entrance, CXC. The children are the nations. The nation's children are being neglected because of what? A our educators are not being taken care of in the way that they need to be taken care of. If our educators are not sufficed, how could our nation's children develop? And Guyanese people, you sat there yesterday and you showed the world that you're okay with it when you got dressed up and you went out there and celebrated what? So you're okay with our nation's children being illiterate, with our nation's children not becoming successful. Well, I have a problem with it because I need our children to be successful. All 6 races.
You know, caller, listen, I don't want to disagree with when you say that, you know, the parents are okay with the children being illiterate. I don't want to say that they're okay with it, but I want to say that, you know, they need to be somewhat educated more on what the repercussions can be with their children being out of school. And that's where I think that's right.
With you not coming out and standing with your teachers and coming out there and helping your teachers to get their voice stretched so they can have better wages, better salary increase, so they can live, so they can provide for their family, and they can come out and teach your children to educate the nation's children. I've got a problem. I'm sorry to use those words. I'm sorry to sound so blunt, but that's how it comes over to me. That's how it comes over to me. But I don't want that for our nation because we're bigger and we're better than that. We can't stagnate our children in 24th century. We cannot. This is stagnation. So I need our parents to up the ante. I need my Guyanese people to take the blindfolds off and get out there. I need the unions to hit the streets. Our teachers need the support. Without them, we have no nation, we have no country. Because they make each and every one of us. Each and every one of us, those teachers make us.
These are some very, very good points, caller. We have another call coming in, but I want to thank you. I want to thank you so much for these points. These are excellent. I would expect, though, that next week our parents will be out there, the students will be out there, all the unions would be out there. Well, we know that Gawu is not going to show up out there.
We don't expect Gawu.
Gawu is a standalone union. It's a pet union of the PPPC.
We don't expect them to be out there.
But I expect, you know, listen, if people could have come out like this, a mash, man.
Yes.
You can come out, you can, but another thing we got to keep in mind here, we got to keep in mind that MASH is a holiday, so people are not working. Right?
Listen, Wayne.
But I see where you're going. I see where you're going.
Minutes. Just give the teachers 10, 15 minutes.
I see where you're going, caller.
They're not fighting in vain.
I see where you're going. I see where you're going with this. And you're making a valid point. You're making a valid point. Our teachers are out there. They're in the trenches by themselves, dealing with an oppressive regime that is not budging to take care of their needs that they deserve.
This regime is not taking
right?
care of nobody's needs. If you want to see that, look at MASH yesterday. MASH is something very colorful, glamorous, glitz. Look at that MASH yesterday. Compare that MASH to last year's MASH.
Well,
that's how oppressive these people are. How much more as the song says, how much more are our people going to take before they say enough is enough?
Well, listen, what I see with this install regime, their goal is to dismiss Black history in Guyana, and dismiss history that they don't agree with.
Allow them, and are we, as Afro-Guyanese, are we going to allow them?
Well, it is up to the people, caller. It is totally up to the people.
And that is my argument.
Well taken. Very good argument. It's totally up to the people. All right, I want to thank you for calling in.
Sure.
Very, very valid points. I appreciate them.
No problem.
Thank you so much, caller. All right, again, guys, the lines are open. 347-228-7115. Please call and let your voice be heard. This is your show. Call and let your voice be heard. The caller just now had some excellent points, right? We have to come together across all 6 ethnic groups as a collective to stop this madness that is happening in our beautiful Guyana. Okay? It's executing our values. And we cannot allow that. Okay? We have to stay strong in our values. We cannot allow external forces to come and dictate how, we operate in our country. I do have another call. Good evening and welcome to Over to You. Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good day. This is the program about the teachers' concern in Guyana.
Yes, this is Over to You, sir. We're discussing the teachers.
Okay. Yeah, I'm following these problems in Guyana with the teachers because I'm a teacher in Trinidad and Tobago, and it is very ridiculous to see that the union and the government are on some sort of ongoing negotiation for more than a year, and the government has not come up with a solid resolution in order for the country to move forward. But the problem is that the country without teachers, Guyana would be in a serious crisis, and they may have to send for foreign teachers where they would have to pay more. The same thing with nurses. So if you want to say they want to meet development status or advanced development status, education is the first priority. And with the teachers them not in class and coming up to CSEC, they would have a serious catastrophe in the CXC results coming up. Because as a teacher and a CXC and CAPE examiner, Guyana normally do well in terms of top in the region. And with this problem going on, it means that they will be at the bottom if no sort of resolution is taking place. However, what I observe is that some of the government ministers at these children at these key schools as Queen's College and Bishop that don't have much teachers not really coming out there, so they don't care. But then again, those schools teachers need to hold on and come together. You're not punishing the children directly, but you're sending a message to the government because at the end of the day, it's taxpayers' money there to come out and join with the rest of teachers so that the government will know, hey, not because my kid go to Queen's College or Bishop, it means that they are safe and forget about the rest. Education is an inclusive thing and it should not be an elitist or privileged thing whereby people of the elite level children go to a particular school, and as long teachers not coming out, that school okay, and their kids okay, and forget about the rest. So Guyana is in a serious crisis, and they have to come to some sort of resolution. Trinidad experienced these challenges, and one-time government may move with the union to resolve it, because they know what is the repercussion with education. That is all I have to say.
Caller, excellent points. Well said, sir. Thank you for calling in. Thank you so much. Wow. That was powerful indeed. He spoke about the high-level schools in Guyana, the bishops, the Queen's College, I guess Saints, the higher schools, the higher level schools. Most of the times you find the students in those schools. I'm not going to say there aren't poor students who are poor that attends those schools, but for the most part, it's the rich, right? It is the rich. And to see that the head teachers and the teachers of these higher level institutions is not coming out to support this strike action paints a picture of exactly where we are in Guyana. That is why it is so important that at election time, the masses really show up. Because this government does not care about the masses. They don't care about you guys. Stop trying to have what the PPPC and Barry Jagdio says. Don't let that occupy space in your brain. Don't. They don't care about you. Okay? They don't care about you. Good evening and welcome to Over to You.
Good evening.
Good evening.
To your listeners. I would like to put in my 2 cents worth. Now, before we even get to the teachers, I would like to say that the sitting government does not respect trade unionism, because the trade union is supposed to be a representative of the teachers, and they have not respected the wishes that were sent out, or the teachers said what they wanted, and they used trade union to be their representative. Now, the sitting minister is going around posting all kinds of nonsense on her page. The president, the Ministry of Labor, the Ministry of Finance, none of them have decided to give the teachers a hearing. For me, that's disrespectful. For me, that's trying to, disregard the trade union, which is the representative of the teachers. I want to also say that I'm disappointed in the attitude of some of the parents. Now, you're sending your children to school where there's hardly any teacher in the school, and 2, you're not considering that your children are unsupervised and anything is possible. Now, we're speaking about children, and we know for a fact that there are delinquent children in our schools for one reason or the other. Why are parents sending their children out there to expose them to that sort of thing? And I'm speaking now about abuse. It doesn't have to be in the schools. but stranger things have happened. And therefore, parents, some parents that is, need to be more responsible when it comes to taking care of their children. The time they send their children to school, it would have been better if they were to go out there and support our teachers. Our teachers deserve better, and therefore, as a nation, we're supposed to show that we are supportive of our teachers. Education is important. No matter how you put it, education is important. And therefore, and this might sound political, the mere fact that the sugar industry, I'm not saying they don't deserve anything, but the allocation of monies to the sugarcane workers as against education is not right. We're talking about coming a first world country, but you're not even investing in education. What is the matter with the sitting government? I mean, not everyone was born to be an academic, but technology seems to be the going thing in these times. So where is the investment, or what is the intention of the sitting government to invest some money into technology so that we can at least have a foot in the door?
Well,
I want to urge parents to go out there and support your teachers. Now that there has been the court order, right, I think that should give the teachers some more confidence to know that when they go out there, they will not have to deal with financial issues. Thank you.
Excellent points, caller, and thank you so much. Well made points, and I do hope that we see the teachers from the bishops and the Queen's College and the St. Roses and these schools, you know, being part of this strike action with the other teachers, because those teachers would have fought now. And of course, they won the case in court, so we know that salaries would not be interfered with. But I was looking at a comment, caller, before you go. I was looking at a comment, you know, one of our listeners would have commented and said that, you know, when you look at Queen's College and Bishops and St. Roses and these schools, what they're saying is that a lot of them is friends with government ministers. You see, that's the kind of stuff that can't happen, should not be allowed to happen.
I definitely agree with you. Teachers are teachers, regardless of which school you're allocated to. You should first be a teacher. It is your duty as a teacher to ensure that your children come first. This is not about political affiliations. This is about ensuring that Guyana has a nation of children who are literate. I put that in quote and unquote.
Yes.
So a political affiliation is not supposed to be a part of your decision to ensure that you yourself as a teacher does the right thing. That's what I would say.
Excellent point. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, caller.
You're welcome.
That caller made some excellent points. The government does not want to negotiate with the union. Well, we know and we see, just based on the government threatening to not withhold that $700 that goes, the union dues, withholding the union dues that goes to the union. We see that this government is trying their best, or tried their best, to, you know, eliminate unions across Guyana. But it would have failed miserably. And kudos, to the Guyana Teachers Union, and kudos to the teachers who would have said that it doesn't matter if you stop withholding that $700. We will continue to pay our union dues. Kudos to the teachers. In order for teachers to be able to stand as one, you need a union to represent you. There is nothing like having union representation. Kudos to our teachers. And I want to make another point. Nurses and all these other public servants, to the extent you're not satisfied with your wages, you need to come to the table now. You need to come to the table now. Come out and let your voices be heard. Let this install regime know of your needs. Let them know where they have been shortcutting you. I expect to see the other unions out with the teachers next week. Good afternoon and welcome to Over to You.
Good afternoon, Mr. Caesar. Good afternoon to the listeners. I'm also a former teacher. Of Guyana, and my biggest concern right now with the teachers is the importance of the diaspora and their response to the teachers' strike. If we get to the bottom of the situation, the source of it all is the teachers needing a backup. They need finance. And although I've noticed that the GTU has also put out like a Republic Bank for us to make donations and so on, I think we in the diaspora are not doing enough. There is nothing like a grassroots operation. A grassroots operation can really challenge what the government is trying to do, to stifle the teachers. And if we have, they're saying maybe 16,000 teachers out there. We have maybe like 8,000 or 10,000 of them who are actively striking. I am contending that if we put up a GoFundMe or something, a running total, because what I notice most times, we are donating, but we have no idea what's going on. We have no idea of our target. So we are not able to say, people are not able to pump into this fund. Give us a target. Can we, support a teacher? We have 8,000 teachers. We have over 40,000 people in the diaspora who are willing to join in this fight. And if each person can throw in a 40 or 50, whatever they have, but let people see the pot and let the opposition know that they are going to be challenged. But just throwing something to GTU at the Republic Bank, nobody knows what is going on. I think that is where we're dropping the ball. We need to be far more strategic, and we need to not hide what is going on. They need to know that the fight is out there with maybe 20 or 30,000 people strong, and we need to show them we have 6 million, we have 8 million, because the grassroots do not underestimate what the grassroots population can do.
Caller.
And it's only quite a few people.
Caller. You're gonna continue in a minute. I just want to intercede 1 second. And your point is excellent. But I say this: every action does have a reaction. And what I've been getting is a level of frustration from the people in the diaspora, because they are just not seeing enough on the ground with the people in Guyana. They feel like if not the teachers, not our teachers, but they want to see parents out there. They want to see all the unions out there. They want to see people supporting these teachers, because who does the teachers educate? People, right? Children, and those children have parents. So what people in the diaspora want to see, they want to see the people in Guyana take some initiative, take some ownership of this strike action and what is happening on the ground in Guyana. Then you're going to get, I feel, a lot of positive action from the people in the diaspora, because I think it's unfair for the diaspora to just, as soon as something happens, they jump in and they do everything while people are just relaxing. No, the Guyanese people need to step up and they need to take ownership of this fight. I don't mind the diaspora supporting. I agree with you. I agree they need to have a GoFundMe. We need to have they need to have proper people in place to control the monies and making sure that the monies are getting to where it needs to go. You can continue, caller.
I also understand your point, but remember, the teachers are being strangled. If we are to wait for that chain reaction for the teachers and then the parents and then the GPSU and stuff like that, remember the persons out there, they have to survive. And you have to understand that when the shoe is on your foot, it's a whole different situation. If we want them to stay out there, the only thing that can keep them out there is an alternative to their salary. That's the only thing, or else they're going to run back in the classroom and they're justifiable in doing so. So we cannot wait for that, for the end of the line, because the bread line is what is really sustaining them. And that is what we have to look at. And if it's not working, then maybe we can go on to other stuff. That's just my 2 cents.
Well, there was a court action. I don't know if you're aware of it. There was a court, right? There was a court action, and the courts rule in favor of the teachers. The government cannot touch their salaries; they have to be paid. So we know that they have to be paid. So based on that, you know, the diaspora. I'm not telling you that the diaspora is not needed. The diaspora is definitely needed. But listen, the point I'm trying to make is, how do we hold the people on the ground in Guyana accountable? Because the people just cannot be on the ground and not doing anything. We have to activate the people on the ground in Guyana. This is not a fight between the install regime and the diaspora. Of course, the diaspora is in it. But this is a fight where the install regime is not taking care of the people in Guyana and their needs. And that's why these teachers are out here, because they're not being paid properly. They're not getting a proper wage. And I agree with you. We need to put in some measure of financial support there. But I want to see some more from the people on the ground in Guyana also. And I'm sure most...
If I should interject too,
yeah, sure.
I agree with you 100%. We are not getting the full support or the support that we would like to see, that things are catching on. Mm-hmm. But then remember the umbrella. Remember everybody's situation in Guyana. I am not doing it because I am going to be victimized. So you have to understand the umbrella under which these people, we are here. We are free to talk. People can only do so much without someone coming at you and you not being able to fight on the grounds of discrimination and so on. That freedom, that there's oppression going on in Guyana. So it comes back to the same situation. When I become victimized, I am left alone. But if these people know that there is a fund that is going to back them, because the only strangulation they're having in Guyana is a financial strangulation. And it only affects the people who are down and out in cash, who have no reserve. It affects the people who are hand to mouth. Any one time you have a backup or you have finances that can run you for a few months when they want to play with you, you take a different stand. But they victimize people because they know they have them at their fingertips. So if someone knows that, you know what, I came out and I said this and I am going to be victimized and I'm going to be without a salary for the next maybe 3 to 4 months until this thing passes through a court, they know that there is a relief fund, as the teachers were saying, there is a relief fund that is set up, that the diaspora is also going to set up. So from the time I come out, and they want to hold my salary, I know I have a shelter. And if we can put enough money in a shelter for a relief fund, I think people are going to come out and people are going to act differently, and the government is going to have to find an alternative to what they're doing to get back at people.
All right, listen. The point that you're making there's an excellent point, but I would also say this: the opposition has to be more, assertive in these situations. When people come out to, protest or to do something, they're being victimized with their jobs. I feel like if the opposition needs to be more active to make sure that these things does not happen to people, it is illegal. It should not happen, and they should be more forceful in putting this install regime feet to the fire when it comes to such issues. But I want to thank you so much, caller. You've made some excellent points. Very good points. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Have a good night. Thank you. Caller had some excellent points. I knew we had some individuals trying to call in. You can feel free to call. The lines are free now. That was important, what the caller just said, financial stability. That's one of the things that is causing, that's one of the issues that are causing Guyanese not to come out, to protest, or not to come out to stand with the teachers in this strike. But sometimes things gets a little bit difficult before they actually get better. We cannot take the posture that we're not going to stand with the teachers. This strike action by these teachers is so important. They have challenged this install regime in the 3.5 years that the PPPC, the 3.5 years since they was installed, they have never been challenged anything close to what is happening now. Right? They have not been challenged anything close to what's going on now with these teachers. So everybody needs to get on board with these teachers, and we need to, continue to take this action to the government. The government need to act, and they need to act swiftly. The other unions need to join the teachers. Why? Because I am sure many in those other unions are not being paid. Nurses, for example, our nurses can do with a better wage. So we don't want, the unions for the other public servants to posture like if everything is fine, like if their people are being paid, adequately. Because I know across the board that that's not the case. And if the teachers are at the table, it makes logical sense for the other unions to join now. You don't want the install regime to negotiate and make a deal with the teachers, and then, you come to the table as nurses, because they're going to say, hey, if you guys had come to the table earlier or come to the table with the teachers, we would have done all of you one time. What are we going to have? Teachers, nurses, and then we're going to just keep going through? No, let's do it one time. Let them do one thing and pay everybody. We're going to see where this goes next week. Next week is going to be an interesting week, because next Friday would have marked 4 weeks, right? Which equates to a month. I'm going to repeat this again. The opposition should feel free to get involved now with this action. No one could say, oh, this is political now. The PPPC had 3 weeks to come to an agreement with the union to make that collective bargaining work. Instead of that, they're going into schools, that they're combining the classes, combining all the students and putting them in one class and saying, hey, look, school is happening. You guys need to get it through your thick skulls. The teachers are not settling for that nonsense that you're paying them now. We're in the 21st century. Guyana is the fastest growing economy. They have the largest GDP. All the other teachers across the Caribbean is being paid more than Guyanese educators. We want our educators paid. You guys need to get off of your transactional horse as a government and start taking care of the Guyanese people, not just the teachers, the people across the board and their needs. We're not addressing wants of the Guyanese people. We're not there yet. We're still a third world country. Their needs. Electricity 24/7, running water 24/7, and again, clear, crystal clear water, not coffee, right? Running water, proper hospital facilities. When I say proper hospital facilities, I'm not talking about private hospitals. Guyanese people, the masses in Guyana, are not rich. They are poor. Some of them is barely teetering on middle class. So what do we need in Guyana? We need strong public hospitals. Again, I say it, we need strong public hospital facilities. Our schools need to be upgraded, matching the 21st century. We're expecting our students to go out there in the world market and be successful. Like many of us on this program tonight, we are experts at what we do. Our education would have started in Guyana. Guyanese people are very, very smart people. And we can prove that over and over and over again. We want that to continue. Our teachers need to get back in the classroom. As the caller from Trinidad would have said, with the teachers being out of the classroom, it's going to affect Common Entrance, CSEC. It's going to affect those students. Irfan Ali, you said that you had the interests of women and children. Well, these children need teachers in their classroom. You call yourself a leader. Do you think having them out of class for 3 weeks shows proper leadership qualities? It does not. It does not. Our teachers, I want to thank them for standing strong and continuing to stand strong. Parents, I need you to rally around them. You know, sometimes people tend to look at teachers as just babysitters to take care of their children. You just leave and go to school and send your child to school. And you come home and that child is learning and everything. Well, it's those educators who is responsible for your children during the day, who educate them, who nurtures them, who plays such a significant role in their lives. They are now, those educators are now on the breadline asking for better wages. They've always supported you by taking care of your children and making sure that your children are educated while you're at work. Here's an opportunity for you to, in return, support them. I expect to see parents out in full support of our teachers next week. I want to thank everyone, for joining, and I will see each and every one of you back here next Saturday. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah, my name is Jacinty Caldata, Francis C. Wakenham, and since 1965, I become a voter. And I always place my X next to the cup. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data. I have none.
Hello, this is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington Law Firm, located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you. So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
The Guyana Public Service Cooperative Credit Union will be hosting a special general meeting and elections on Saturday, March 2, 2024. The meeting and elections will be held both virtually and in person in the various regions. Members in Region 4 will be allowed to vote at the Critchlow Labor College, Wilford Avenue. The meeting will be held from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Members are asked to be on the lookout for information regarding online voting and regional polling places. Full participation of members is encouraged. Let us move your credit union forward.
Chest, I can't even rest. No cost of living, everything doubling, this thing troubling. Tell me how I must carry on with a seemingly one arm. Tell me how I must survive with 6.5. Tell me how I must survive with 6.5. Every time I go to the market, everything skyrocket. Rice, the beans, the cheese, the liver, them make me want shiver. Tell me how I must carry on with a seemingly one arm. Tell me how I must survive with 6.5. Please tell me how I must survive with 6.5. Survive with 6.5. Please tell me how I must survive with 6.5. The other day the landlord told me rent. I paid him the last few cents. Cause he built I walk and the rest of the bill I paid him against me will. Tell me how I must carry on with a seemingly only one arm. Tell me how am I sore?